Great. Well, thank you so much and welcome everyone. My name is Dave Kieran and I'm the Director of Adult Services at Autism Speaks. And I'm thrilled today to be joined by good friends and leaders in this space of autism and neurodiverse employment from AutonomyWorks. Today, we're going to get the chance to chat with Dave Friedman, who is the founder and CEO of the company that's based just outside of Chicago. We also have Carrie Pesey, who's the Director of Talent and Operations, here to help. But first, we have the wonderful opportunity to speak with one of AutonomyWorks associates, Erik Rolon. Erik, welcome and thank you so much for being here. My first question for you is, could you tell us about your role at AutonomyWorks? So what are some of your responsibilities?
Hi, I'm Erik Rolon. I've been working at AutonomyWorks for over 5 years. I'm an associate. It's a position where I do some of the main client work, or I'm sorry, I messed that up.
That's okay. Let me ask you again and you can restart. And Erik, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know.
Oh, all right.
I sometimes make mistakes and it's no big deal. And that's another nice thing about it, that we can record this so we can redo it. It's okay.
Okay.
Let me ask it. I'll ask the question again, okay? Erik, can you tell us about your role at AutonomyWorks? What are some of your responsibilities?
Okay. Hi, I'm Erik Rolon. I've been working at AutonomyWorks for over 5 years. I'm an associate. I do some of the main work in terms of clients. One of my responsibilities is I look at and audit the orders that we receive from our clients via email or online program.
Mm-hmm.
I look at these orders to make sure that they have all the correct information. That information involves either data or images or even both. I make sure that all the information meets the needs and expectations of our clients as well as our sub-clients. Another responsibility that I have is I enter the information from those orders into the programs and systems where they're required.
Mm-hmm.
Once I enter them, I make sure that all the information is working properly in the system. And I make sure that everything is done with full accuracy. Another thing that I sometimes do is I look at the instructions for the task that I work on to make sure that they're fully accurate, to make sure that it has all the required steps and that they're understandable. I make sure that there are no typos and that there are no mix-ups in any of the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like most about my job at AutonomyWorks is
Yes.
I'm surrounded by people who are willing to take the time to help us learn and adjust to new tasks. They make sure that we truly understand what the instructors are saying and telling us to do so that we'll be able to do the task with full accuracy in the future by ourselves. And I find that good teamwork is very important in order for us to be able to truly meet the needs and expectations of our clients and to be able to succeed and grow as a company as a whole.
That's terrific, Erik. Thank you. And I heard the word accuracy a bunch there. And so it sounds like it's really important for you to be precise and accurate in your work. Thanks for sharing that and for telling us about what you like at AutonomyWorks, about what you like working there. That's wonderful to hear. Could you tell us about how you were first hired at AutonomyWorks? What or who did you find to be most helpful in the process of applying and interviewing and onboarding? Could you tell us that first?
Well, I was getting help in finding a job from this organization called the Department of Human Services, or for short, DHS.
Mm-hmm.
It was the people from DHS who let me know about AutonomyWorks and the kind of work that is done in the company. It was from there that I decided to give the AutonomyWorks a try, and I'm glad I did. I found the people at DHS to be helpful, very helpful in helping me find this job, and they helped me with my resume. They helped me in suggestions in, where to apply, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I found very helpful in the process in me being hired into AutonomyWorks was that I didn't have to do an interview. Unlike other jobs, doing a job interview was something that I was always nervous about. And in addition, I find that with a job interview, you just get to talk about your skills and abilities. You don't really get to show them.
Right.
And I find that with showing your skills and abilities, that it is a true way to convince the employers that you have the skills for the job that they're offering, which was the case with the hiring process at AutonomyWorks. The hiring process at AutonomyWorks involves, several steps. It first includes a job shadow where you get to examine the AutonomyWorks environment and the kinds of work offered in that environment. And then there's the assessment day where you get to where they examine whether you have the skills for the work or not. Then there's the job, there's the training program where we get trained on the jobs that are offered in the company, and where you develop the skills needed for those jobs. And then there's the assessment day where, there's the apprenticeship where you get to increase in those skills that you've gained and get to put them in actual tasks. Then it's from there that they make the decision on whether to hire you or not.
That sounds like oh, sorry, Eric, you can continue.
Well, I was glad that I was given the opportunity to actually show my skills rather than just talk about them. I find that the employers will gain a more accurate understanding of your skills if you get to show them rather than just talk about them. With just talking about them, you could say that you are skilled in one area, but in reality, your skills are for another area.
I agree. I think so many people on the spectrum benefit from the ability to show what they're capable of rather than just telling in a traditional interview. And it sounds like this process has been really you've been supported along the way by the staff at AutonomyWorks. That's really great to hear. Was there a part that was most challenging for you? You mentioned that the traditional interview is really challenging, but that wasn't part of this process at AutonomyWorks. So was there any part of it that was really challenging for you?
Part of my process in AutonomyWorks?
Yeah. It's okay if you didn't feel like you had one that was challenging.
Well, I didn't find anything like too challenging or anything that I found to be like a major constraint in my ability to develop the skills. But I did, however, like have challenges before finding out or I had challenges before finding out about AutonomyWorks.
Right.
Before I found out about AutonomyWorks, I was unemployed for 3 years. I sent my resume to various places such as stores, banks, hospitals, colleges, and other organizations. I even went on some interviews. But despite all these efforts, I just kept receiving rejection after rejection, and that caused me to have low self-esteem.
Sure.
And there was even a time where I was in a training program for a filing position, but I was let go halfway through the second day, which I found was unfair, as I felt that I wasn't given a chance to really prove my skills, or at least given much time to prove them. But after I found out about AutonomyWorks and tried it out, I found things to go smoothly from there on.
I'm so glad that you did find AutonomyWorks, and I think Dave and Carrie and the team there are so glad you found them too. You know, you mentioned how not having a job affected your self-esteem. And my next question touches on that. You know, we often talk about how jobs mean so much more than just a paycheck, right? It's nice to get money, but jobs mean more than just the paycheck. Could you tell us a bit about what it means to have a career at AutonomyWorks, at a company where you feel comfortable and valued and supported? And just add on, has it changed any other aspects of your life?
Well, my job at AutonomyWorks has given me the opportunity to work with people who I could truly relate to, and in this environment where I find myself being truly respected by others in the workforce, and where my strengths are not overshadowed by my weaknesses. With my job at AutonomyWorks, I have gained more independence. My house is a long distance from the company, by the way. With that, I have learned how to travel a longer distance by myself without being driven by others.
Great.
Going to work, I would take 2 trains. I would first take a train to downtown Chicago, and then I'll take another train to Downers Grove, which is where our office is. That trip takes between 1 and 2 hours, depending on how long I wait between trains. Also the same case going back home from the office. I've also gained more independence in problem solving. I've learned how to figure things out on my own. I've learned how to figure out solutions to problems more independently without having to depend on others to find solutions for me. I've also developed new skills in communication. I've learned how to communicate more politely with others without using words that may sound offensive to them. And I've also learned how to make my explanations more detailed, at the same time make them as brief as possible despite. And having a job has also given me the ability to support myself financially without having to depend on others to support me. And in addition, I've been able to help my family pay for whatever needs that they may need help paying for. And that makes me feel really good.
I bet it does, Erik. Thanks for sharing that. And I was smiling when you were talking about your long commute, because I share that in common with you. When we are in the office, it takes me almost 2 hours to take trains back and forth. So I feel your pain, but it's a good skill. So my last question for you, Erik, is that we have other autistic people attending our event who may be at different stages of their career or their job search. Do you have any advice for them that you'd like to share with them, or anything you'd like to say to any of the other attendees here?
Well, my advice for them is do not stop looking for a job, no matter how many rejections you may receive, because you never know what employers may see potential in you. In addition, think about what you can do to better convince employers that you have the skills for jobs that they're offering. Think about what changes you can make in your resume or how you describe your abilities in order to better stand out to employers. At the same time, be honest about yourself. Let the employers know your true skills and abilities without trying to alter them or try to exaggerate them. Also, continue applying to all the places you find you may have potential in. And also, my advice for those who are looking for, well, my advice for business leaders who are looking for new initiatives in hiring is do not judge people based on their disabilities or by what weaknesses they may have associated with those disabilities. Take the time to know them and examine their skills, and think about how their skills can contribute to the flow of your business. we people with autism and other spectrums may have skills and abilities that are unique and maybe ones that others without disability may not have. Therefore, our skills should be taken into consideration, not underestimated by our weaknesses.
Thank you, Erik. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I wanted to add that that with those strengths, we have something to contribute to society and the world.
Absolutely. Erik, you gave so many great answers today. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us some of your experiences at AutonomyWorks and in your job search. It's been really nice to meet you. Thanks again for talking with us today.
All right, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thanks. I'm going to stop recording. That was awesome.